less than fond memories of our childhood or of our teenage years? Maybe as a result of people who teased us or bullied us? Or do you know of others who have been in those situations? Maybe kids or grandkids or neighbors or friends? The story is told of a boy who was picked on by other kids at school for anything that he did or tried to do. They just laughed at him and made fun of him. And one day he prayed to God saying, God, give me something that makes me special so that the kids won't pick on me anymore. And God did. God allowed him to walk on water. Imagine having that gift. God lets you walk on water. Can any of your friends walk on water? What a cool gift that would be. So now the boy's feeling all confident. Went out to the swimming pool on a summer day like today and walked right out on the water to the deep end of the pool where those kids were who made fun of him. And what did they do? They laughed at him saying, he can't even swim! Sisters and brothers, imagine for a moment if you had that gift suddenly of being able to walk on water. The faith that it would take to go off the side of the pool and to put your foot on water, knowing that it would be as solid as the ground and that you could walk on water in the same way that I could walk on air, right? Imagine for a moment having that kind of faith. Peter had that kind of faith. Did you hear today's gospel? He didn't stick in the boat. When his friend, whom, according to this story, he saw on the water, standing, walking on the water, when his friend said, come, what did Peter do? He stepped out of the boat. Did you catch the story? What happened when Peter stepped out of the boat? He walked on water. Jesus gave him what he needed in that moment. A great story of how God gives us what we need if and when we are not afraid. The Bible says some 119 times, it's the most often repeated phrase in the Bible, do not be afraid. Don't be a chicken. Right? How it is that sometimes we think about the things that we need to do. Boy, I really need to talk to that person. I hurt that person, or that person hurt me. I need to really talk to that person, but I'm afraid. Do not be afraid. God sometimes appears to us in the most incredible ways, which is why today's first and second readings are so important. In today's first reading, God doesn't appear to Elijah in the way that Elijah would have thought that God would appear. God didn't appear in the rushing wind, or in the earthquake, or in the fire. God appeared in the little whispering noise. I suspect that if we were to quiet ourselves enough on days like today, and listen to that whispering voice within us or around us, maybe that's how God speaks to us. In today's second reading, in the letter to the Romans, Paul talks about how it is that God came to us, of all places, through the Jewish people that God chose. God appeared to us in that way. How is God appearing to you in the middle of this pandemic? it true that this pandemic is sort of like that rushing wind or that earthquake that's shaking our world? That fire that's burning 160,000 lives so far in this nation? We have a few ways that we can respond to that. One is with fear and trepidation, and the other is somehow knowing and trusting that if we use our brains and keep ourselves and our families safe, then maybe there are ways that we can step out of the boat safely like we're doing here today and grow in our relationship with God and with those around us. I hate to pick on people during the Mass, but I'm going to pick on Jayme and ask her, Jayme, do you mind just standing up here for a moment? We're going to keep our distance here. But Jayme's mask summarizes the message of today's readings, which is what? Faith
not fear.
over fear. It would be easy for us to cower in the safety of our boats and not do those things that perhaps we're called to do, to step out and to trust that God's going to give us the gifts that we need to do those things. Sisters and brothers, faith over fear. Let us stand